Hi there, I'm Tyrone McKeith from Jeffery McKeith Safaris. Welcome to this short presentation, which will be one of a couple of videos in a series with the aim of informing prospective guests and agents on the intricacies of safari here in Zambia, but also more specifically on our operation here at Jeffery McKeith Safaris in the Kafue National Park. So this is the first video, and basically today I aim to give you a bit of an overview of the Zambian safari scene, the different parks, tourist attractions, etc. And then in the second video, I aim to give a little bit more in-depth information on our Musakesi camp specifically, which is where I am right now. And then followed by another video on our other property in Temwa, Busanga. And then a final short video on the Lua Plains mobile safaris that we also conduct. So please enjoy.
Jeffery McKeith Safaris is truly an owner-run, operated and guided company, founded by myself, Tyrone McKeith, and my colleague and friend Phil Jeffrey back in 2012. We operate 2 camps in the Kafue National Park. We started in the 2013 season with the old Musakesi, which was a camp we operated for 3 seasons before we moved to the new Musakesi, where we've been for the last 4 years. In 2017, we started operating a seasonal bush camp in the Busanga region of the Kafue, called Ntemwa Busanga. And annually, for the past few years, we've run a select few set date small group mobile safari departures to the Lua Plains National Park in far western Zambia. But I'll speak more about the other camps in the Kafue and these Lua mobiles in subsequent video presentations. I'm here to give you more information on Zambia generally. And so here we have a map of the country. My pointer here shows Lusaka, pretty centrally located. This is the capital city and the hub for the majority of the international air traffic in the country. There are a few flights in and out of Livingston, but the majority come into Lusaka, such as Emirates, Ethiopian, South African Airlines, Kenyan Airlines, for example. There are no direct flights from Europe currently, unfortunately, but the routes and the layovers are not too bad at all. You just need to check on the different airlines for how they might work. There are internal flights available within Zambia. The major provider of these is a company called ProFlight, and they have routes to the major tourist destinations, such as here at Livingston for the Victoria Falls, and the national parks as well. The major national parks, of course, being the Lower Zambezi National Park and the South and North Luangwa National Park, and of course us in the Kafue National Park. However, ProFlight do not fly west of Lusaka. They only go to Livingston, Lower Zambezi, and the Luangwa. So in order to reach the Kafue, we are reliant on another company which offer a very similar service called Sky Trails. And Sky Trails provide seat rates for flights into the park here. Of course, charter flights are available, and there are several charter providers in Lusaka, and they're all very good and very professional, and there are many airstrips servicing all the different national parks. Charters are always good for maybe larger groups or family groups where they become slightly more cost effective. In terms of some of the wildlife destinations here within Zambia, as I pointed out, you've got the Lower Zambezi and the Luangwa, north and south. You've also got up here the Bangweulu swamps, the Kasanka National Park, home for the famous bat migration. And then further west past the Kafue here is the Lua Plains National Park, home to one of the largest wildebeest gatherings in Africa. So here is a map of the Kafue National Park itself. There's a few sort of thumbnails here. We've got the country of Zambia, of course, and here the box shows the red highlighted region being the Kafue National Park itself. Our operations focus mostly on the northern part of the Kafue National Park here, and that's what we're seeing in this map with our 2 camps that we operate depicted here, Musakesi and Ntemwa, with this region here in the northwest being the greater Busanga Plains area. As you can see, there's a clump of camps in the middle of the Busanga Plains, then ourselves a ways away from those guys on the southern tree line of the Busanga Plains. The park is huge though. It's 22,500 square kilometers, and it's roughly defined by the Kafue River, which runs through it roughly from sort of northeast to south until it reaches down here the Lake Teshi, a wonderful feature in the southern part of the park. But in terms of the size of the park as well, to put it into context, from the northern boundary to the southern boundary is about 300 kilometers long. But despite this vast size, access is actually rather good. And depending on where you start or where you'd like to start your trip from and end it, will very much have an impact on how to get into the park. As I said, back to this map, Lusaka is central. So driving to the eastern part of the Kafue National Park is actually very easy. It's about 3.5-hour drive to some of the more central lodges near the main road. But if you want to get a bit further into the park, south or north from Lusaka, then it's a bit too far to reach by vehicle in one day. But by flight, absolutely. And the park is well serviced by various airstrips throughout it. If we're looking back here in the northern part of the park, you can see there's an airstrip here on the Busanga Plains. And even near our own Musikesi camp, there's an airstrip here called Lufupa. And there are various other airstrips dotted throughout the park, north to south. So the safari season in the Kafue, the lodges near the main road are mostly accessible all year. And then if you're looking for your bush camps, smaller properties inside the park, then these are generally far more seasonal. You're looking at a sort of May to June start date for bush camps in the Kafue, ending in around November. But then if you're speaking or thinking of the Busanga Plains specifically, then the camps up there have an even shorter season, generally starting in July and ending at the end of October. And this is all because of those Busanga Plains being a swamp floodplain. Weather-wise, the rains begin around November. It's not usually perpetual rain, but rather afternoon downpours, pretty sporadic in the early season, always spectacular. And this rainy season ceases around March and April, by which time the bush begins to then dry up again. Temperature-wise in the Kafue, it's not to be underestimated. And I don't mean the higher temperatures, but actually the lower temperatures. The hottest time of year is October. But even in October in the Kafue, specifically, due to the higher altitude than the Luangwa and the Zambezi, we're always a good 5 degrees or so cooler in the hottest part of the day. And all year, the nighttime temperatures here are very pleasant. It makes a huge difference for sleeping well. But on the cold, the coldest months are pretty much now, June, July, and temperatures can get as low as 4 or 5 degrees in the early mornings. And if you're on the Busanga Plains, you might get the odd day a year with frost. So be prepared for that. But of course, temperatures gradually rise throughout June, July, August onwards, and they increase towards the start of the rains.
Well, thanks for listening, and I hope that was helpful. The next video will be on our Musikesi camp.